Hi there, welcome back to my channel. It is Krista here to do the weekly reading for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Gemini, if you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, there's a link in the description box where you can learn your whole birth chart. And that way, if you want additional messages for the week, you can check out your Moon and Rising sign readings as well. So this is a general reading for Gemini for the week of June 27th to July 4th. I'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck for the main spread. And I'll be asking a little bit of a different question this week, Gemini. I'll be asking, what does Gemini need to know for the week? So I'm asking this for all signs. Instead of what are general messages. I just want to get a little bit more precise. Hopefully this is helpful. So like I said, I'll be asking, what does Gemini need to know for the week? And then as always, for additional messages, we'll be drawing cards from the Medicine Card Tarot and the Healing with the Angels Tarot. So Gemini, I wish for you all success, joy, and wellness. I call upon Archangels Michael, Gabriel, Metatron, and Uriel to guide this reading in peace, clarity, protection, and wisdom. And I ask that Gaia bless this reading for Gemini. So links to the cards that I'm using, as well as a link to my ebook and a little description about why I do what I do, are in the description box as well, Gemini. And I just want to thank you for viewing nearly 1,000 times last week's reading. So I'm really appreciating all the views. Thank you. And it also makes me feel really positive and really helpful, because it means to me that you're getting something positive and healing out of it. So I'm so grateful that these are resonating with you. And thank you as always for the feedback. Anytime you have a second to write back or let me know how this worked out for you for the week, I just love hearing from you. So thanks for that as well. So far in the central position, Gemini, we have the card Fork in the Road. So like I said, the question being, what do you need to know, is there's something that you need to make a decision about. It also does have to do with taking off a mask. And I'll get into details around why I say that in just a moment. But this is really asking you, in terms of what you need to know, how real are you willing to be this week? Now, it's interesting because we have two owls situated in the cards. So there is some psychic energy here. There is an individual in this card, for example, wearing a mask. Do you want to wear that mask? Do you want to misguide people, or do you want to be clear and honest? This is up to you. How you present yourself this week is going to create an outcome by which you aren't going to have to play both sides. And I'll talk about this in a moment. The decision to get to what you really want, particularly if it means not having to, like I said, play both sides or constantly teeter on this tightrope of stress or what comes next, is banking on you being honest. Okay, this is about you. Again, at the risk of repeating myself, this is about you removing that mask. Okay, but you need to be ready to do that, because this overarching flexibility could be great, right? Being flexible isn't a negative thing in and of itself, but being flexible, constantly straddling that fence or that tightrope, is exhausting. And because the To Be Fair is appearing here, and you've got what appears to be the sign of Libra or the scales, there's an issue of justice here. There's also obviously an issue of balance. If flexible were to appear in another spread with other cards around it, which it has for your sign, I think even in the recent past, I would say keep it up, right? I even have in the past. I'm just like, keep it up. You're doing great. Keep up being flexible. But because with Fork in the Road in the center, this is draining you. This is draining you. You're being asked to make a decision. You've done all you can. You could, like I said, that tightrope is getting old. So at the bottom of the deck, we have To the Sea. This is literally going with the flow. This is knowing that faith and happiness and peace lie ahead. This woman is not stressing. You can see she's just sort of going for the ride. But because she is in between what I consider both the intellectual and the emotional worlds, this could be you resting on your laurels this week. And there could be, like I said, here, what there being a push. You're being, and I think it's a good thing. I really do. I think it's a positive thing because, like I said, this is getting old. You don't want to be in between um, constantly trying to smooth things over or pretend to be something you're not, or not being able to be fully honest for whatever reason, right? And we've all been there for whatever reason at whatever time in our lives. But like I said, in a general sense, depending on what this is applying to in your life in particular this week, Gemini, I think what's going on here is going with the flow is actually working against you. You can only do this so long before you are going to have to meet up with a really strict decision. Oh, and I want to look at this with you in detail for just another moment. You'll see that there is an owl here, and then I'll point out in detail at the end of the spread here there's another owl. And then the rhesus monkey here on the fork in the road is wearing a mask, but one hand is on the mask in order to take it off. Who do you want to be in this relationship, in this position, in this life, in this role this week? Who do you want to be? And you can see so many different arrows here. There's so many different paths to take, but one does have light at the end of it. So I think the decision in terms of deciding where you want to go, and I do want to point out the owl here on the back. The owl is um, universal symbol in any culture around the world to anyone is always about the moon, psychic power, women, nighttime, secrets, um, but also knowledge. Okay, incredible wisdom and knowledge. So I think that you really deep inside, if you were to take a moment, if you feel like you're struggling with this, if you take a moment or a few moments with yourself this week and be gentle with yourself if this is troubling for you, or if you find that this is a difficult place to go, take your time doing it. Be gentle with yourself, but remember that you do have the answer. I truly believe that no one has the even capability of asking a question that they don't either have the answer to already or they don't have access to the answer. So I think it's just a matter of coming into your own and being honest with yourself this week, Gemini. And like I said, the flexible card, it's shown up in many of previous readings for you and several other zodiac signs here. But because of what it's connected to here this week, especially with the to be fair to the opposite side, is it fair that you're constantly walking that tightrope? And I'm going to say no this week. If it is, and I'm totally wrong, let me know how I've gone wrong this week. But if this is something where you're just like, oh, I'm not ready yet, or I'd rather straddle this line, or I'd rather be everything to everyone, if that's exhausting you, please take a moment and make that decision this week, Gemini, because so many better things and more beautiful things await you at the end of that decision. And like I said, the end card here is to be fair. This is closely related to not only Libra, and this could very well have to do with an actual Libra or Libran qualities, not only beauty, but fairness and justice, right? Are you being flexible about something that requires just flat out justice? Maybe there's no two, maybe you can't straddle this line on either side because it is a black and white issue. Either way, her scales are balanced, and there's a pearl on one side. I hope you can see this here. And then on the other side is a fortune cookie that says nope. So this is up to you. What do you want at the end of this? Because staying straight in the middle here, this is kind of cool actually. Being totally in the middle, she's going to flip back and forth, but she's still going to be here. It's a constant state. And same here, you can have this or you can have this, but if you're totally in the middle, it's a constant state. It's like no man's land. And again, with the owl at the top, look how the owl rests at the top of this woman's incredibly ornate crown. In fact, you could feel like the queen of decisions or the king of decisions this week. But the wisdom lay within. It is something that already exists within you. So if there's any stress or worry around how do you get to that answer or making that decision, I would, if possible, go within this week, even for a little while at a time, okay? Because you will find that the answer already exists for you. Now, do you want to take action on that answer? You'll have to tell me that. You'll have to let me know. Um, I'm going to back up for a second and look at the term gentleness. We have the deer here as one of your qualifier cards. Its key word is gentleness, and I did say near the beginning here that there's really no need to give yourself a hard time. You've been sailing along because it's easy, right? You've been doing this balancing act because it's easier than getting to the bottom of whatever that decision is. And I get it. We're human. We've all been there, right? But in order to deal with this in a gentle way, with this other person or the outcome, or everything in between, it is important to come from a place of gentleness so that you can express it naturally. So like I said, if this is overwhelming or it feels like just don't want to have to do this, try to, sort of zen out a little bit. Personally, I like to use humor to um, disarm a situation. Okay, you don't have to do it in terms of staying flexible to keep people up in the air or to keep yourself or a decision up in the air, but using humor, using a sense of gentleness, a sense of kindness, a sense of you're really just a precious being who's going through this circumstance, maybe even for the first time in a long time or the first time ever. And it's really critical that you're patient and kind to yourself right now, because when you go to make that decision, that moment hits, you're going to be able to do it from a place of love and gentleness. And that's, right next to humor, that's probably one of the most disarming things in the world to do, especially if you're up against something, right? If you're up against someone else's worldview or lifestyle or opinion of you, etc. And so, wow, what a beautiful way to complete the reading with the card Blessings. I think no matter what is going on here, and I hope you truly feel this, that you come from a state of feeling and acknowledging being blessed. You know that good things await you. You know that after this decision is made, after having just gone with the flow for so long, that it could even be more exciting after you make that decision. Okay, Gemini? But it does need to be made, and it could even be small. It could be a small decision that's going to make large improvements to your life, but just trust that the outcome is going to be very positive for you, and it's going to be hopefully very healing for you. And you do have the wisdom within. So look within, and that concludes your reading. I hope that you enjoyed that for the week. Thank you so much for joining me as always. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I upload a video for your sign every week, Gemini. So thanks again for being here with me. Let me know if you have a moment in the comments below how this works out for you. And until next time, take good care. Bye for now.